The red light flashed, the horn blared, and Nail Yakupov slid across the Rexall Place ice on his knees, celebrating like he had just won the Stanley Cup. It was October 2012, and the first overall pick had just scored his first NHL goal.
Nice cross-crease speed. That's Adam Burris, man, he gets lost. Can't find Yakupov.
No one could have predicted that this euphoric moment would represent the peak, not the beginning, of what was supposed to be a legendary career. The Edmonton Oilers, a franchise desperately seeking their next Wayne Gretzky or Mark Messier, held the golden ticket, the first overall pick. For a team that had already struck draft gold with talents like Taylor Hall and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins in previous years, Yakupov seemed like the final piece of their rebuilding puzzle. His resume was nothing short of spectacular. During his tenure with the Sarnia Sting in the OHL, Yakupov wasn't just playing hockey. He was rewriting the offensive playbook. Consider these numbers: 80 goals and 170 points in 107 games, a scoring rate that had scouts salivating. At the 2012 World Junior Championship, he showcased another dimension to his game, threading 9 assists in 7 games, proving he wasn't just a one-dimensional sniper. But what sets this story apart from typical draft disappointments is the perfect storm of circumstances that followed. In a league where success is often determined by development, timing, and organizational stability, Yakupov's journey would test every conventional wisdom about prospect development. As we dissect one of hockey's most intriguing what-if stories, we'll explore not just what went wrong, but why a prospect who seemed to have every tool for NHL stardom ended up adding his name to the complex legacy of first overall selections. Behind the dazzling highlight reels and scoring statistics lurked a more complex narrative, one that many in the hockey world chose to overlook. Like a perfect shot that reveals a hairline crack in a stick, the warning signs were subtle but significant. The scouting community found itself divided. Some painted a picture of a charismatic young talent who could light up both the scoreboard and the locker room. Others, however, saw concerning glimpses of what lay beneath the surface. The 2012 World Junior Championship became a defining moment, not for Yakupov's on-ice performance, but for an infamously animated post-game interview after defeating Team Canada. In a sport where humility often speaks louder than highlights, this raised eyebrows across the hockey world. Perhaps no assessment was more damning than that of Brian Burke, the straight-shooting NHL executive whose draft interview stories have become legendary. Burke's revelation that Yakupov's interview was his worst ever, and his statement that he wouldn't have drafted him even with Toronto's 5th overall pick, carries extra weight now. It's worth noting that Burke's draft record, including picks like the Sedin twins and Chris Pronger, lends significant credibility to his evaluation. The red flags weren't limited to off-ice concerns. In an era where two-way play has become increasingly crucial, just look at the evolution of stars like Sidney Crosby and Patrice Bergeron. Yakupov's defensive game was conspicuously absent. While Pavel Datsyuk had set a new standard for Russian forwards' defensive excellence, Yakupov seemed to represent an older archetype, the pure offensive specialist. Yet, ironically, Yakupov's NHL journey began with promise. During the 2012-13 lockout, he showed his adaptability by posting respectable numbers in 22 KHL games, a league known for being particularly challenging for young players. When the NHL resumed with a condensed 48-game season, Yakupov found himself under the tutelage of Ralph Kruger, a coach known for his player-first approach.
Ralph Kruger was really good, like good human being, you know.
Yeah.
He's more than a coach. Like for me, it was important to have someone who can be close to me, not just about hockey and about everything, like life.
An ability to manage young talent. This period would prove crucial, as it represented perhaps the only time in Yakupov's NHL career where circumstances aligned in his favor. Like a shooter finding a brief window through defensive coverage, Yakupov had his moment. But sustainability would prove to be the greater challenge. Yakupov's NHL journey began like a perfectly scripted hockey movie. His rookie campaign during the lockout-shortened 2012-13 season painted a picture of promise: 17 goals and 31 points in 48 games. For a franchise starving for offensive firepower, these numbers projected to an enticing 29-goal, 53-point full-season pace. Edmonton fans, who had weathered the storms of rebuilding, finally saw light at the horizon. But like many hockey stories, the initial chapter proved misleading. The 2013-14 season brought a dramatic plot twist, as Yakupov's production plummeted to just 11 goals and 24 points in 63 games. More concerning than the offensive regression was his troubling -33 rating, a statistic that, while not always telling, echoed the concerns scouts had raised about his two-way game. At the time, many compared this to the sophomore slumps of other Russian stars like Vladimir Tarasenko and Evgeny Kuznetsov, hoping it was merely a temporary setback. History, however, had different plans. The following 2 seasons in Edmonton revealed that 2013-14 wasn't an anomaly, but a preview. In an era where analytics were becoming increasingly prominent in player evaluation, Yakupov's underlying numbers told a story of a player struggling in all zones. His 4-season tenure with the Oilers concluded with a stark statistical legacy: 111 points in 252 games and a staggering -88 rating, including a career-low -35 in 2014-15, numbers that seemed almost impossible for a player of his perceived talent level. The St. Louis Blues, a franchise known for reviving careers under coach Ken Hitchcock, took a calculated gamble before the 2016-17 season. The change of scenery theory, which had worked wonders for players like Vinny Lecavalier and Rick Nash, seemed logical for a still young 23-year-old Yakupov. But in a bottom-6 role, playing just 40 games with frequent healthy scratches, Yakupov found himself lost in a system that demanded defensive responsibility and structured play. Even the high-flying Colorado Avalanche, under innovative coach Jared Bednar, couldn't unlock the potential that had made Yakupov the top pick in 2012. Their one-year, $875,000 contract, a far cry from first overall pick expectations, yielded just 16 points in 58 games. In a league where speed and skill were becoming paramount, Yakupov's pure offensive talents paradoxically seemed out of place without the complete game modern NHL demands. This chapter of his career, much like his infamous draft interview with Brian Burke, became a reminder that in the NHL, raw talent is just one piece of a much larger puzzle. For a league that had seen Russian superstars like Pavel Datsyuk and Artemi Panarin excel through complete games, Yakupov's story became a testament to the importance of development, adaptability, and the mental aspects of professional hockey. After the 2017-18 season, Yakupov's NHL chapter closed, and like many Russian players before him, think Alexander Radulov's first NHL stint, he returned to familiar ice in the KHL. The next 8 seasons would mirror the frustrating pattern NHL fans had witnessed. His 2018-19 campaign showed flashes of the talent that once made scouts salivate: 23 goals and 33 points in 47 games. Numbers that had some wondering if, like Alexander Semin or Nikita Filatov, he might engineer an NHL comeback. But history has a way of repeating itself. The following season brought a dramatic downturn: 10 goals and 10 assists in 46 games, statistics that wouldn't turn heads in any professional league. The subsequent trades within the KHL, first to HC Vityaz, then to Amur Khabarovsk for mere financial compensation, painted a picture of how far the former NHL first overall pick had fallen. To put this in perspective, this would be like an NHL team trading a former first overall pick for future considerations, something almost unheard of for a player still in his prime years. However, attributing Yakupov's NHL struggles solely to his perceived stubbornness or fixation on highlight reel plays oversimplifies a complex situation. The Edmonton Oilers of the early 2010s were, in many ways, a case study in how not to develop young talent. While teams like the Detroit Red Wings had established a proven development model with their Detroit Way, and the Pittsburgh Penguins had created a support system for young stars like Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin, Edmonton seemed to operate on a draft and hope philosophy. The statistics tell a damning story. Despite having 4 first overall picks in 6 years, Taylor Hall, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Yakupov, and Connor McDavid, the Oilers remained playoff outsiders until 2016-17. Compare this to the Chicago Blackhawks' successful development of Patrick Kane and Jonathan Toews during their dynasty years, and the organizational differences become stark. The coaching carousel that defined Yakupov's NHL tenure reads like a cautionary tale in player development. 5 head coaches in 4 seasons with Edmonton, a period that should have been crucial for his growth, followed by more changes in St. Louis and Colorado. For context, during the same period, players like Vladimir Tarasenko flourished under stable coaching in St. Louis, and Nathan MacKinnon developed into a superstar with consistent guidance in Colorado. The environment in Edmonton during Yakupov's tenure was particularly toxic for development. Their 103-153-38 record over his 4 seasons reflects more than just losing. It represents a culture of defeat that can damage young players' development. Consider that even Connor McDavid, arguably the greatest player of his generation, couldn't immediately turn the ship around upon his arrival. The team's point percentage during this period ranked among the worst 4-year stretches for any team with a first overall pick in the salary cap era. When analyzing organizational instability's impact on player development, one need only look at the contrasting examples. The Tampa Bay Lightning's patient development of Steven Stamkos and Victor Hedman, or the Winnipeg Jets' nurturing of Patrick Lane and Nikolai Ehlers. These cases demonstrate how crucial organizational stability and clear development pathways are for young talent. Yet, amidst the same organizational turbulence, players like Jordan Eberle carved out respectable NHL careers. Eberle, who weathered identical storms, went on to become a consistent 20-goal scorer and valuable NHL veteran. The contrast is particularly telling when you consider that both players shared the same coaches, facilities, and organizational chaos. While external factors clearly impacted Yakupov's development, his inability to adapt, unlike his contemporaries, suggests a more complex narrative than just organizational failure. Draft position and raw talent can light the path to NHL stardom, but Yakupov's journey serves as a sobering reminder that the road requires more than just skill. In an era where teams deliberately bottom out for high draft picks, looking at you, 2014-15 Buffalo Sabres, and 2021-22 Arizona Coyotes, this story carries extra weight. Consider this: while Connor McDavid, Austin Matthews, and Nathan MacKinnon validate the allure of first overall selections, Yakupov's case demonstrates that even seemingly can't-miss prospects can miss entirely. The true lesson here isn't just about draft position or talent evaluation. It's about the delicate ecosystem required for player development. Just as a master chef needs more than premium ingredients to create a masterpiece, NHL success demands the right blend of organizational stability, player mentality, and developmental support. Yakupov's story isn't just a cautionary tale, it's a masterclass in the complexity of professional hockey development. After countless sleepless nights of editing and research to bring you these hockey stories, your support means everything. Drop a comment below about Yakupov's career, leave a like if you enjoyed, and don't forget to subscribe for more NHL deep dives. See you in the next one.